Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. A lot to talk about again this week. Jumpstart 2022's release and the reveal of Dominaria Remastered are two reasons card prices are moving this week, but there's other factors as well. I was planning on adding the Jumpstart 2022 cards to this episode, but the prices are still really turbulent right now, so I'm going to wait another week. Many card prices are still plummeting from that set. They're trying to find their price points. And on the other hand, some of the anime cards are hitting unrealistic prices due to lack of circulation early on. Hopefully by next week that will even out a little bit. In today's video, our threshold is going to be $2. We're not going to talk about any card unless it's moving at least $2 up or down. And before we get started, just a couple quick things. I do want to say thank you to two viewers who gave super thanks in last weekend's video. David Howell and Thomas Wright. Thank you, David. Thank you, Thomas. Those tips really do help the channel. And there are going to be some changes coming to the channel as we move into 2023. Stay tuned for more information on that this week. And again, a super thanks is always appreciated, but never expected. Just watching the videos, giving us a like, a comment, that helps so much as well. Again, thank you, David. Thank you, Thomas. And thank you to all the viewers. One more thing, if you go to FlipsideGaming.com, you can use the Heroes promo code to save 10% on orders over $10. At time of recording, they are out of Jumpstart 2022, but I'll let you know if they restock. You can pre-order Phyrexia All Will Be One products now, as well as Dominaria United products. Those are both up on the website under the pre-order tab. I'll leave links down below if you're trying to find them. Remember, if your order's over $100 or consists only of singles, shipping will be free in the United States. Also, whenever you use the Heroes promo code, it does support the channel, which is always appreciated. So thank you. And without any further ado, let's get into it. We'll begin, as we always do, with the Standard Legal Spotlight. This is where we look at the Standard Legal cards moving the most this week. We have a couple going down, one going up. First one moving down is Liliana of the Veil. The Modern Masters 2017 copy is down to 17 to 42.33. The Ultimate Masters copy is down to 31 to 47.25. So this was reprinted in Dominaria United, making it Standard and Pioneer legal, but also adding a lot of new copies to the marketplace. In Standard, this is in Grixis midrange, Mono Black midrange, and more. Pioneer, it's in Mono Black midrange, Orzhov midrange, and more there. Modern, this is in Jund, Legacy, Mono Black Pox, and it's also in a number of commander builds, including Tergrid God of Fright / Tergrid's Lantern. Second card moving down is Urza Lord Protector. This goes down $4.21 this week to $35. This continues to find its price point as more packs of the Brothers War are opened. And also players are trying to figure out just how good this card is in different formats. Well, I will tell you, it's just getting a little standard play in Azorius Control, but it has quickly become a popular commander, and it's in the 99 in many builds there too, old and new. It's a good upgrade to the Brothers War Commander deck, Urza's Iron Alliance, and it's in fresh builds around Urza Chief Artificer from there, and it's also in builds around a card for the main set, Urza Prince of Krug, and it appears at times in Optimus Prime Hero Commander decks too. And the one card moving up in this section this week is Sheoldred the Apocalypse. It goes up $2.88 this week to $58.90. This is all over Standard again this season. Grixis midrange, Esper midrange, and much more. Big Pioneer card too in the incredibly popular Rakdos midrange builds. Also, it's in Mono Black and Orzhov midrange there. In Modern, sometimes you see this in Yawgmoth. Legacy and Vintage just shows up in Doomsday sideboards. Plus, it's a very popular commander and part of the 99 of a lot of decks in that format as well, including a new one, Gix Yawgmoth Praetor from the Brothers War. That quickly brings us to the Pioneer Legal Spotlight, and again we have some cards moving down, just one card moving up. First card moving down is Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger from Battle for Zendikar. This goes down $2.85 this week to $51, and the reason it's soft is because it is being reprinted in the Just Add Milk Secret Lair. In Pioneer though, this is in Grill Ramp. Modern, you see this in Mono Green Tron and Eldrazi Tron. Legacy, it's in Mono Green Cloud Post. It's even getting some additional commander play now around a card from the Brothers War, Liberator, Urza's Battlethopter. Emrakul, the Promised End is next. This goes down $3.58 this week to $51.15. This continues to lose value after some big increases last summer. In Pioneer, it's in Grill Ramp, Modern Eldrazi Tron, Legacy 5-color Zenith. Also getting a little more commander play now, again in Liberator, Urza's Battlethopter builds. Mox Amber from Dominaria is next. It goes down $4.80 this week to $35.16, and this was just reprinted as a retro frame artifact in the Brothers War, which of course is why it is losing value the way it is. In Modern, this is in grinding station builds. This is in a variety of commander decks too, including a new one, Urza Lord Protector. This one is a little weird. Darksteel Forge from Plane Chase down 651 to 1647. Now, the Plane Chase copy is taking an unusual dip when you compare it to the other copies of this card. In fact, you might remember over the last few weeks, other copies of this card were moving up quite aggressively. I don't really think this price point will stick. Maybe there's just extra copies of this particular version of the card online currently, but I do expect it to start moving back up again. Now, the reason it has been hot is because it's been getting more commander play thanks to the Brothers' War. It is a good upgrade to both Urza's Iron Alliance and Mishra's Burnished Banner. It's also a new builds around the front-facing commanders from both of those decks, Urza Chief Artificer and Mishra Eminent One. Additionally, this is in builds around cards from the main set like Urza Lord Protector, Liberator Urza's Battlethopter, Urza Prince of Krug, and Mishra Tamer of Mcfadden. Alright, I'm so sorry. The last card moving down in this section is Renata Called to the Hunt, the copy from the list. Only there for Strixhaven. Hard to find in high grade online currently. It's going down $8.59 to $8, but that price is still inflated. Nobody's paying $8 for this card. Maybe I don't need to include this yet again on the Market Watch, but my OCD just won't let this one go. It's kind of become my new one per video. Anyway, you can get other versions of this card for just a few cents. It does show up in a variety of commander builds though. And the last card in this section is one that's moving up, Rin and Ciri Inseparable. This is the foil buy a box promo. It goes up $2.88 this week to $18.88. And part of the reason this is moving up is because there are 4 cat variation packs in Jumpstart 2022, and they even introduced a new uncommon cat that supports other cats, Ingenious Leonin. Additionally, Tokeshia's Welcome from the Brothers' War is a good commander card for cat and dog tribal builds. Put it all together and it's leading to a bump in commander play for Rin and Ciri Inseparable decks. Plus, this is also in the 99 of some builds there too. Now it's time for the Modern Legal Spotlight. Again, some cards going down, only one moving up in this section again. First, we have Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre from Rise of the Eldrazi. It goes down $2.04 this week to $37. This has been soft ever since it was reprinted in Double Masters 2022. It is a popular commander card and seeing a little more play now in Liberator Urza's Battlethopter builds. Vidalcan Orrery from Fifth Dawn goes down $2.26 this week to $10.74, another card that was reprinted in Double Masters 2022. Although it is seeing some more commander play now, it is a good upgrade to Urza's Iron Alliance and in fresh builds around Urza Chief Artificer, also in builds around a card from the main Brothers' War set, Urza Lord Protector. Urza Lord High Artificer from Modern Horizons is next. It goes down $2.30 to $50.70. With all this talk about Urza, why is this going down? Well, it's because it's getting reprinted in Dominaria Remastered. Now, there's other cards being reprinted in that set that are moving down this week. A lot of them are moving down less than $2, though. Very few hit the $2 threshold. In today's video, we're only going to focus on 2 of them, this being one. But if you're interested in picking up some of the singles that are coming in that set this January, keep a close eye on them because I do think deals are coming. But I will say this does see a lot of play in Legacy. It's an Urza Echo, Vintage 8-cast. Plus, it is a popular commander, and those builds have been pushed by some cards from the Brothers' War. Also in the 99 of many builds there. Some of those include decks around new cards from that set. It is another good upgrade to both Urza's Iron Alliance and Mishra's Burnished Banner. You do see this in fresh builds around both Urza Chief Artificer and Mishra Eminent One. And it's in commander builds around other cards from the main set, Urza Lord Protector and Urza Prince of Krug. Thrumming Stone, the copy from the list. It goes down $2.60 this week to $24.50. Another card that was reprinted in Double Masters 2022. This does get commander play along with cards that can break the deck limitation rules like Dragon's Approach. But keep an eye on this overall because I am seeing it in commander decks around a new card from Jumpstart 2022. The card is Ashcoat of the Shadow Swarm, and those decks do run Rat Colony and Relentless Rats. Arkham Daxon from Cold Snap is down $3.53 this week to $20.99. This Cold Snap copy is retracting after some recent spikes due to increased commander play it received once the Brothers' War came out. Surprise, surprise. When a card like this spikes, more copies tend to come out of the woodwork, and then sometimes you see retraction like this. It is a good upgrade to Mishra's Burnished Banner and Urza's Iron Alliance. It's a new builds around Mishra Eminent One and Ashnod the Uncaring from the Mishra deck, as well as Urza Chief Artificer from the Urza deck. Plus, it's in commander builds around cards from the main set, Urza Lord Protector, Urza Prince of Krug, and even Arkham Daxon commander builds are getting a little bump in play with the new tools that came from the Brothers' War, like Portal to Phyrexia, for example. Last card moving down today is Denizen of the Deep from Portal Second Age. It goes down 419 to 1302. It is getting reprinted in Dominaria Remastered with the same art from the Portal Second Age and Starter 1999 copies. Like I've been saying for a few weeks now, this copy has been very turbulent and the price is inflated due to scarcity online. Even with the price drop, nobody's spending $13.02 for this card. It does get a little commander play, but you can get other copies of this for just a few cents. Although, I have seen a very small bump in commander play for the card because of a new card from Jumpstart 2022. That card is Kinesso's Priest of Thassa, which is a new commander for Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, and Serpent creatures. Alright, our lone card moving up in this section today is Mycosynth Golem. This is the copy from the list. It goes up $13.05 this week to $40. And this one is catching up with the 5th Dawn copy that's been moving faster over the last few weeks. And the reason this has been moving is because of an increase in commander play, again because of the Brothers' War. It's another good upgrade to Urza's Iron Alliance. It's in fresh builds around Urza Chief Artificer. Plus it's in commander builds around cards from the main set, Liberator, Urza's Battlethopter, Urza Prince of Krug, Mishra Tamer of Mcfadden, and Urza Lord Protector. Plus it's appearing in a couple of the commander decks around Transformers, Megatron Tyrant, and Optimus Prime Hero. It is time for the Vintage Spotlight. This is where we talk about cards that see play in Vintage, Legacy, or cards that are just popular among collectors this week. Now, for some of the cards in this section, the prices you see might be a little more reminiscent of what you might see on a price tracking website. And that's because in those examples, we might not have a lot of sales for the card over the past week, or even the number of copies for sale could be very limited. And in those cases, we do have to lean a little bit harder on asking price to find a value. Also, when it comes to the older, more iconic Magic cards, the price you see on the screen could fall somewhere in between the price of a high-grade raw and high-grade graded copy, so just keep that in mind. If the price, though, is not at least close to the middle between those two types of cards, or just in general, if the price you see on the screen is not matching up with what I'm seeing for recent sales, I will point that out. Show and Tell from Urza Saga goes up $2.06 this week to $40.17. In Legacy, this is in Reanimator, Sneak and Show, and Omnitel. It also gets a little commander play sometimes in Braid's Conjurer Adept builds, for example. Tolarian Academy is next. It goes up $2.25 this week to $125. In Vintage, you see this in 4-color Tinker, Prison Shops, and more. Grim Monolith up $2.44 to $282.43. In June, though, this was close to about $315, so it has been coming down. In Legacy, this is in the Epic Gamble, Colorless Cloudpost. It's also in a lot of different commander decks, including some new ones like Urza Lord Protector and Urza Prince of Krug. Force of Will, this is the original Alliances copy. It goes up $262 to $104.44. This is getting reprinted, though, in Dominaria Remastered, and this week the other copies of the card were moving down. This one creeping up a little bit, though. When it comes to the spell itself, I mean, it is a staple found in many Legacy and Vintage decks. Plus, it appears in lots of commander builds, too, including a new one, Urza Lord Protector. Mycosynth Lattice, the Darksteel copy, up $283 this week to $47.09. In Legacy, this is in sideboards of Colorless Cloudpost, Urza Echo, sometimes Painter, and more. Vintage, you see this in Prison Shop sideboards, sometimes Paradoxical Outcome sideboards as well. And as you can imagine, the Brothers' War is pushing this in Commander. Good upgrade to Urza's Iron Alliance and Mishra's Burnished Banner. It's in new builds around Urza Chief Artificer and Mishra Eminent One as well. Also in Commander decks around cards from the main set, Urza Lord Protector, Urza Prince of Krug, plus it's showing up in builds around a card from Jumpstart 2022, Kibo Uktabi Prince. Phyrexian Dreadnought from Mirage is up $360 this week to $93.97. This is in Legacy Stifle Knot. Gets a little commander play too. Many times you see this in Selvala, Heart of the Wilds decks. And additionally, this gets a good amount of play in the pre-modern format, and that format has had a bigger impact on card prices recently. Ancient Tomb, that Tempest copy is up $419 this week to $74.34. This is a big Legacy card. It's in Mono Red Prison, Sneak and Show, and much more. Vintage, you see this in Prison Shops, Aggro Shops, and it is a big Commander mana-based card too, found in many different decks, including some new ones. Good upgrade to Urza's Iron Alliance. It's in new builds around Urza Chief Artificer, also in Commander decks around Urza Lord Protector. Goblin Welder, the Commander Anthology Volume 2 copies up to $10 to $12.99. The Dual Decks Elves vs. Inventors copies up to $36 to $12.82. That one only comes in foil. And the Urza's Legacy copies up $4.87 this week to $20. And this is in Legacy Painter and more. As you can imagine, this is getting a lot more Commander play now because of the Brothers' War. It is a good upgrade to Mishra's Burnished Banner and in fresh builds around Mishra Eminent One and Ashnod the Uncaring. Also in builds around cards from the main set in Commander. Mishra Tamer of Mcfadden, Queen Caleb and Krug, Mishra claimed by Gix, and it's in Megatron Tyrant builds too. On top of that, this was mentioned on the Command Zone podcast this week as a card you might want to use to get Portal to Phyrexia on the battlefield. Seasoned Dungeoneer of $5.33 this week to $10. This is from the Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate Party Time Commander deck. Sure, this does see some Commander play. It's even showing up in a new build around a Jumpstart 2022 card, Preston the Vanisher, but Legacy is really what's been moving this. It's in mono white and to a lesser degree Selesnya Stoneblade builds. The mono white ones, though, have been performing especially well. Tundra from Revised is up $8.41 this week to $491.29. We've talked a lot about these revised dual lands and how the Magic 30th Anniversary Edition has been impacting them. I won't subject you to that again, but if you want to hear my thoughts on it, just go back to a couple of the market watches from the end of November. For the most part, though, these cards have been stabilizing. Some have even been climbing back up, like you see this one's climbing this week. When it comes to gameplay, these original dual lands see a lot of play in many different decks in Legacy and Vintage, plus they're found in a lot of Commander builds, old and new. Lord of the Pit from Unlimited. This goes up $11.08 this week to $69.69. Now, there's going to be a lot of Unlimited cards in the rest of this section of the video. In fact, all the white border cards you're going to see are from that set, so I won't keep saying that. Just know when you see a white border card from here on out, it is from Unlimited. Hercule's Recall from Antiquities up $11.25 this week to $114.17. Stasis up $11.79 to $89.99. This did get a reprint in the Space Beyond the Stars Secret Lair. Animate Wall is up $13.07 to $37.38. Earthquake up $13.22 to $99.95. Mana Crypt, this is the copy from Eternal Masters. It goes up $16.41 to $198.66. Now, Wizards did sell some more Mystery Booster Convention Edition boxes as part of a Secret Lair bundle called Festival in a Box. So there are more copies of this right now in circulation, but this copy is still jumping after some recent losses. In Vintage, you see this in 4-color Tinker, Prison Shops, and more, and it's in lots of Commander decks. Good upgrade to the Heads I Win, Tails You Lose Secret Lair Commander deck, which finally is getting in people's hands. And now it's found in many Urza Lord Protector builds too. Plus, it's a good upgrade to Mishra's Burnished Banner, and found in new builds around Mishra Eminent 1 as well. Jade Monolith up $16.51 to $31.48. Berserk is up $20.97 to $144.98. Birds of Paradise, this is up $34.02 to $282.48. This is being reprinted in the 2022 Extra Life Secret Lair and in Dominaria Remastered. Badlands from Unlimited goes up $56.50 to $548.50. Alright, here we go. Mox Jet up $1,782 to $7,039.99. Is this for real? Well, Power 9 prices are really hard to figure out. Basically, these cards are worth what somebody's willing to pay at that given moment. The weekly price shifts you see are really more tied into what's for sale that week. Are there higher grade copies for sale compared to last week, or lower grade copies? Are there more copies graded this week, or less copies graded than last week? Those differences can make the prices you see in these videos shift quite a bit at times. And that, of course, is because there's not a lot of sales for these cards, especially in high grade. In fact, a lot of times it's hard to find high grade copies for sale. Anyway, when it comes to true sales, I did see a graded 8 recently sell for about $3,500. That should give you an idea. Same story here with Mox Emerald, up $2,142.70 in theory to $6,502.49. I did see a graded 8 sell for a little over $3,600 recently. Jazam Jin is the last card in this section. It goes up $2,805 to $5,994.99. But the question is this for real? Well, no, this price is a little high. High-grade raw copies can break about $2,000. A graded 9 recently sold for about $3,900. Alright, maybe we have some cards we can afford in this section, the Commander Spotlight. So everything in this section is moving, at least in part because of Commander, but that might not be the only reason, and in some cases might not even be the key driver, but I'll let you know as we go through. First, we have Edgar Markov from Commander 2017. Only comes in foil. It goes up $207 this week to $77.13. This is a very popular Commander that is rebounding after some recent losses. Saheeli the Gifted. This only comes in foil as well. It goes up $210 to $590. Solid Commander card that has some new tools now because of the Brothers' War. It is another good upgrade to Mishra's Burnished Banner, and it's in fresh builds around a couple cards from there. Mishra Eminent One, and Ashnod the Uncaring. Greensleeves Morrow Sorcerer. This goes up 246 this week to 1680. This is one of the Dominaria United Eternal Legal cards. Although, if you look at recent sales, there is something suspicious going on here. Many copies are selling for about $14, but then there is a whole group of copies selling for about $25. Might be manipulation driving this most recent spike, so just beware. When it comes to gameplay, though, it is getting increased commander play now around a couple new cards. Titania Voice of Gaia from the Brothers War main set, and Titania Nature's Force, which is one of the Brothers War Eternal Legal cards. Yawgmoth's Will from Urza Saga up 265 this week to 209.74. This is getting more commander play now around a card from the Brothers War, Gix Yawgmoth Praetor. Jeweled Lotus, this is up 312 this week to $110. Found in many commander builds, including some new ones like Urza Lord Protector and Kibo Uktabi Prince. Dockside Extortionist is next. This is the one from Double Masters 2022. It goes up 321 this week to 54.86, and this continues to be a huge commander card in many different builds. The reprint was dipping for a while as copies got into circulation, but this week it starts to move back up, as you can see. It is in some new commander decks too, like Mishra claimed by Gix and Kibo Uktabi Prince. It was also mentioned on the Command Zone podcast this week as a card that combos with a card from the Brothers War, that is Meticulous Excavation. And the last card in this section is Metal Worker. This goes up $15.94 this week to $153.70. This reserve list card is getting a big push in Commander from the Brothers War. It's seeing more play in that format in a number of new builds: Urza Prince of Krug, Liberator Urza's Battlethopter, and Urza Lord Protector. Plus, it's an expensive but good upgrade to Mishra's Burnished Banner, and it's in fresh builds run Mishra Eminent One. Yes, we do have a premium spotlight this week, and as you know, every week there's tons of premium cards spiking and dipping in the secondary market, all sorts of turbulence there. Can't possibly cover it all, but I like to pick one card at least to look at that feels like it's moving substantially. Feels like maybe this movement could possibly stick. Cards that aren't being just bought out or drying up temporarily online. This week I picked two cards to focus on. The first is Yawgmoth's Will, the Judge Foil, up $59.66 to $789.99. And yeah, this price is about right when you look at recent sales. I did see a lightly played copy sell for almost $650, which means a higher grade raw could hit this price, and of course a high grade graded copy could sell for even more. And our last card today is one more Judge Foil. This time it's Gaia's Cradle. It goes up $162.48 to $2,999.95. I wanted to highlight this one because we looked at it moving up last week, and I just wanted to show you it is moving up again this week. We'll have to see if this sticks, but it does feel like there is at least some kind of momentum here. Now, these are really hard to find in high grade, so is this price real? Well, it's probably close because a graded 6 broke 2,000 recently, so a higher grade should be able to get into this ballpark. When it comes to gameplay, this is in Legacy Elves, sometimes Maverick. Vintage, you see this in Hogak Vine, Squee Hollow Vine. Plus, it is a fantastic commander card in many builds, including a new one, Titania Voice of Gaia. And that is going to do it for this episode of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. A quick programming note for you, though. This week, in the middle of the week, when I usually do the top 10 hot cards, I'm not going to do that this week. Instead, I'm going to open a Brothers War set booster box and discuss some things I'm thinking about for the future of the channel. When we come back next year after the holiday break, which will be the last 2 weeks of the month, so there's still going to be one more weekend edition of the Market Watch coming. But after that, we're going to take a little break, and when we come back in January, we are going to see some changes in the channel. There's a lot of things not quite working right now because of changes and differences in the YouTube algorithm. Also, as you might have heard, a lot of people aren't super happy with Magic the Gathering right now, so that has been impacting the channel in a pretty harsh way too. I do think in some cases that will shift as we move into next year, but I do think there's a lot of people very disenchanted that are probably gone, if not forever, at least for quite some time. Especially on the financial end of things. Now, we're still going to do videos talking about card prices and stuff. I love doing those. But I also want to add some more variety to the channel, some different kinds of videos. Anyway, until next time, stay safe out there. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page, as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.